Do you think, though, that technology is a good thing or a bad thing?
Technology is neither. The beautiful thing about technology is, if you learn to use it, it works for you. But who you are will decide how you use it, isn't it?
But how do you
So what we need to fix right now in the world is, who are we? This is what we need to fix. We've all become many things which we are not. Essentially, we are born as life on this planet. Rest of the things are taught to us, isn't it? Stop teaching all this stuff which makes us something other than human beings.
I mean, you can say this as Sadhguru, but how do you deal with a 15-year-old who spends 6–7 hours of their day on a phone, which then impacts their mental health, their state of mind?
See, being on the phone need not necessarily impact the mental health. But what is on the phone? That's a question, isn't it? Right now, at least in India, whatever they may be looking for pornography, but Sadhguru pops up. I'm telling you, I'm saying this with a certain glee because you know, I'm just walking in Bangalore city. Some 12, 13-year-old boys, a bunch of them, they say, "Hey, Sadhguru, Sadhguru," and they come running. I said, "Hey, you idiots, how do you know who I am?" They said, "No, we watch your videos, Sadhguru." I said, "What? Your mothers must be forcing you to watch my videos?" They said, "No, in our class, all of us are watching your videos." I really inquired and I find in every school that I go to, at least 20 to 30% of the children are watching our videos. I'm telling you, when I was 15, nobody could ever get me to watch a goddamn spiritual video, all right? No way. But today, children are watching. So, this is a new and a fantastic development. So, phone is not the problem. What is the content you're putting on it and who is putting on it? Children are putting? No, adults are putting. Everything has become commerce. So children are playing video games, whatever, some in India, some PUBG, what is it? Huh? Because I came to know about it because the Prime Minister mentioned this something. See, it seems whatever, 2–3 hours a day, you're practicing how to kill this one, this one, this one and this one, okay? I'm shooting. When I am 12, 13, it may be okay. When I become 18, don't I want to get a little real? Am I happy just shooting them on my phone? I would like to really shoot them, please understand this. You think I will be satisfied just shooting people when I think it's the right thing to do? Whoever appears, I shoot them on the phone. You think my instinct of wanting to shoot people that I see will be satisfied just on the phone? You are living somewhere. It's not reality. So when we are putting our children through this and we think they are violent, they are wrong, no, this is the kind of content you're giving them. Can't we change the content to whatever extent we can?
I mean, but there are a lot of studies that have been done that the internet is causing a lot of angst for young people.
See, these studies goes on about everything. What is not causing angst, tell me? Everything is. And these studies keep changing all the time. Yes, there is some kind of impact of a screen time because of the type of light it emits. People lose their ability, because they're going on this late night, they cannot sleep properly. Because they cannot sleep properly, next day morning there are many troubles. All these things are rolling up. Today in United States, they have technology de-addiction centers, where like AA or something, they have technology de-addiction centers where people go there and it's a big thing that you can live without a phone. It's a huge achievement that you kept your phone away for whatever number of days. So, technology is not the problem. Compulsiveness is the problem, isn't it? If you're compulsive, even the food that you eat, if you eat compulsively, won't you get sick? So for compulsiveness, there's only one cure, consciousness. There is simply no other cure. You can make adjustments. Can I say a joke? Is it okay?
Please, of course.
On a certain day, an office colleague, a young woman, asked Shankaran Pillai that, if she could get a lift in his car. So, he took her in the car and he was driving. When it got a little lonely part of the road, he pulled the car aside and he suddenly became like an octopus. That is, his limbs were all over her. She pushed him away and said, "You fool, what are you trying to do? I thought you were a decent fellow and I came with you." He said, "I'm sorry, I quit smoking."
Then tell us, how do we get to a point of consciousness then? How do we not take our impulse from smoking to something else?
See, we are misunderstanding consciousness as just mental alertness. Mental alertness will help you to survive better. Consciousness is not about that. See, you know that you exist right now only because you're conscious, isn't it? You are conscious right now. That's why you know that you're here. Suppose you fell asleep. You don't know that you exist, isn't it? You don't know the world exists, nor do you know that you exist, simply because you're somewhat unconscious. Does it mean to say you're completely unconscious? No, you're still conscious when you're sleeping, but not conscious enough to notice the presence of many things. So consciousness is not whether it is present or absent, it is always there. The question is only the intensity and the volume of it. If we have to use an analogy, right now see, the lights are focused on us, so both of us are clearly seen. There are people hiding in darkness. Suppose you dim the light further, all these people will disappear, only two of us will be there. If you increase the voltage, suddenly they will all appear. They were always here. They were here all the time. Because the lights were dimmed, I could only see you and nobody else. If the lights were up, then you could see. This is all consciousness is. Everybody is conscious. Question is how conscious. So to increase or to raise consciousness, what have we done in the societies? Our entire education system is just about survival, one being better than the other. How can you be conscious when you're competitive? When all you want to do is be better than somebody. Your only joy is other people's failures. How will you be conscious? When you're enjoying other people's sufferings, other people's failures. This is what being number one means. I am the number one means what? You're number 10. That's my joy. So I think this is sickness. From kindergarten, you're spreading this sickness into children and you expect them to be fantastic. It won't work like that.
So do we need to change our systems?
Oh, definitely. See, right now, it is anyway going to change in the next 5 to 10 years, not because people are going to become conscious, simply because of artificial intelligence. For a long time, I always wondered, even when I went to the school, an idiotic person who's read a book a few years ahead of me suddenly is acting like they're something superior. Just you read a book few years ahead of me, and how come you're so superior? I don't understand this. If you're a scholar, you read a few books. If you're a religious person, you read just one book and somehow you're superior. How come just by reading one book ahead of me, you become a superior life? All this is going to be demolished in the next 5, 10 years' time. My phone will be able to do 10 PhDs a day. It has enough memory to do that. So all scholars, religious people, people who just keep on vomiting their stuff that they've read elsewhere, this will be nothing. This will be nothing. So, see, there was a time, I remember this very well, in Mumbai port, when the first gantry was installed to load and unload the ships, about 35, 40 years ago maybe, all the labor protested, they went on strikes. Then I was I'm interested in this thing, so I was visiting some ports recently. I was inquiring what was the size of the vessels then, what is the size of the vessel now, how much time does it take to load, unload. At that time, the biggest vessels were about 30,000 tons or 35,000 tons, in that range. Today, most of the vessels are over 100,000 tons, some of them are 250,000 tons. But at that time, they were taking 26 to 28 days to unload one ship. Today, they unload a ship in less than 24 hours and they're unloading 12, 15 ships at the same time. That is, in one day, 12, 15 ships are unloaded. Why? Because of from man's muscle, we move to machine. Right now, all the professors, scholars, all of them are crying, what will happen to our jobs? It's the same situation. What you could do with your intellect, a machine is coming which can do better. My first brush with artificial intelligence, as I saw it, was when I was 13 years of age. Today's children, everybody is on the iPads and screens all the time. When I was 13, for the first time I saw a flatbed calculator. So somebody brought it to school, I had never seen anything like that. They said multiplication, tuk 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 tuk, tuk 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 tuk. Just came. Immediately I felt offended. Because if it can be done like this, why the hell are they torturing me in the arithmetic class? So then I imagined if there was a calculator for physics, chemistry, biology, everything, how wonderful. It took 50 years. Now it's coming. All the best for the children of the future, because they don't have to go through this torture of simply trying to retain something in your memory and believe that your memory is intelligence. Your memory is not intelligence. Your memory is a certain capability, all right? But intelligence is a different dimension of life. Consciousness means pure intelligence, unsullied by memory. Now if I look at you, oh, I know Elda, oh, she's good, she's bad, she's my friend, she's my enemy, this, that, so much nonsense in my head. What happens now is, I don't see you the way you are right now. Yes? If my intelligence is sullied by my memory, I cannot see you and experience you the way you are right now. If I don't see you right now the way you are, I cannot see this flower the way it is right now, I cannot see the sunrise, I cannot see the sunset. For everything I have a stupid meaning in my head. There is no meaning in the phenomena of life. There is no meaning to sunrise, there's no meaning to a flower, there's no meaning to a cloud, there's no meaning to anything. It's just that it's fantastic, that's all. Meaning exists only in the psychological framework of the human being, and these meanings are simply because we are constantly dipping into our memory. In traditional terms in India, when we see people living out of their memory, we say, ayyo karma. That means past memory is ruling them. They will never experience life. They will just recycle the same stuff.
Is it possible to shed or leave behind memory?
I'm sorry?
Is it possible to shed or leave behind your memory?
See, you don't
because
have to
it's
shed
part of
your
your identity.
No. If you shed your memory, you will again walk into the same pits that you walked in the past. Memory is not to be shed, it needs to be carried little loose, that it is not sticking to you all the time. See, your entire body right now is just memory. There is evolutionary memory, there is genetic memory, there is karmic memory, there is conscious, unconscious levels of memory, articulate and inarticulate levels of memory. In yoga we identify your existence as 8 dimensions of memory. This whole thing is memory, isn't it? See, you may not remember how 10 generations ago your great-grandmother looked like, but her nose is sitting on your face. Body remembers, isn't it? 100%. It doesn't matter where you go, what you do in your life, this body retains every bit of that memory, isn't it? So, this existence is memory, but do you want to use this body and this bank of memory that you have in your mind as a platform upon which you sit, or do you want to carry this on your head? This is the difference. Being conscious means you sit on this platform. Being unconscious means you carry it on your head, the burden of it.
You mentioned artificial intelligence. Are you worried about the future?
No, this is the best time for me. See, if, let us say, right now, you have read 10,000 things and you remember all that. I have not read anything. So, the value that you have is only the memory you have. But now I have a little gadget which knows 1,000,000 times more than you know. So now what is the value for you and me? What kind of a human being I am is the only value, isn't it? What nonsense you carry in your head is of no value. So this is a great time for me. This is great time for humanity because now you being a human being will become more important than what nonsense you carry in your head. I'm sorry, this is head talk.
So are you saying then that we are living in the best time in history?
Definitely. Is there any question? Never before human survival was as well organized as it is today. If you had to start your morning, you had to take a bucket and go to River Thames, which is a mile away, and carry this bucket full of water. Tell me in this room, how many people are even fit enough to carry a bucket full of water for a mile? Now we're complaining because the warm water is not coming. There are two knobs you have to turn for warm and cold water. You want a single knob, so people are freaking in the morning. Two knobs have to handle. So, survival is better organized than ever before. When our concern was survival, we couldn't pay attention to other dimensions of life. See, once you come as a human being, if you had come as any other creature, stomach full, life settled. Once you come as a human being, stomach empty, only one problem, stomach full, 100 problems. Why this is so is, our life is not fulfilled with survival. When our survival is in question, we are just like any other creature. Only when survival is fulfilled, the dimensions of being human kicks in into our experience. When you're thinking of where is my next meal, we don't expect you to be very human. You lose it in many ways. Now survival is settled for a large part of humanity. Unfortunately, there's still populations for whom it's still a struggle. But I would say at least for 60% of the population on the planet, for the first time, survival is better organized than ever before. The world is safer than ever before, though people are constantly complaining. Well, you're talking about Sri Lanka, yes, it's an unfortunate incident. But 1,000 years ago, if 1,000 people died just 100 miles away, you would be sitting here thinking world is super peaceful. Yes or no? Today it's because of BBC that somebody dies somewhere, the blood flows into your sitting room. It's a good thing, at least your humanity is being evoked, otherwise it'll sleep. So I'm saying, in terms of violence, we are more peaceful than ever before. Our survival is organized better than ever before, and above all, our ability to communicate is better than ever before. These are not small things. Now the question is, what are we going to communicate? Are we going to abuse each other? Are we going to throw dirty things at each other? Or are we going to do something that will transform us as a generation, because this is our time on the planet? Are we going to make this the greatest time in the world ever? Or are we going to let this pass? That's all we have on our hands. What else do we have? That's all we have. All we have is a little bit of time, isn't it? Hello? All we have is a little bit of time. But most people think they're immortal. That's why they don't do anything. Because they think only other people die. They don't understand you and me will die. When we are born, we are geared to die. So it's only a question of time. Time is ticking away right now. As you sit here, from the time we came and sat here, we're 20 minutes closer to our graves, all of us. Yes, if you're conscious, if you think about death once in a way, it'll become a morbid thought. But if you're conscious that you're mortal, you would organize your time in the most productive possible way, isn't it?